This is the Happy Hour.
You guys going to happy hour?
Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America.
Yeah, I'll come for a couple.
Here are your hosts, Nick Sainert.
I want to know what it's like to commit a crime without having to spend time in jail.
And Enrique Alvarez Clary.
C is for chunk.
Brought to you by Empire Fence and Netting on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome into the Happy Hour 93.7 The Ticket, theticketfm.com. Happy Friday. Got a lot to talk about here in the next 45 minutes to an hour. And so please feel free to join us. 402-464-5685, the Honda Lincoln Hotline, the Starter Heyman text line, Nick Sainert and Rico joining you. Rico, hello.
Hello.
How's it going?
It's going fantastic.
Welcome back.
Thank you. It's good to be back.
How was the brief jaunt to Lawrence?
It was pretty good. Nice little drive, driving through some small Nebraska towns.
Okay.
Driving through some small Kansas towns. I saw there's this high school when you first get into Kansas. I don't remember what it was called, but their mascot was the Cobras.
Okay.
And I really liked that because I don't see enough schools with the nickname Cobras. But Lawrence, great little college town.
I'm wondering, does Nebraska have any mascots that are the Cobras?
No, they do not. I would know. I would be extremely excited about that. There are no Cobras.
So because Gretna is the dragons,
which is pretty cool.
I like dragons.
You know one that I surprisingly really like? Elkhorn.
The antlers?
Yeah, don't know why. Not a deer. They're not the deer, the steers, the whatever. They're antlers, and I like that. Don't know why.
I also now I will say Elkhorn North Wolves,
not Wolfpack.
Not Wolfpack. Wolves with now here's the deal. There's something about their colors.
The baby blue.
The baby blue with the gray and the black.
It does work really well.
It works really good. Really and well. Man, I mean, when we see them at state, like they are decked out in swag.
One that bothers me because I feel like the color scheme makes it not as cool. Elkhorn South.
The Storm.
The color scheme.
If they had a different color.
I think so.
Okay. I can get behind that. I'm okay with that.
Was it dark blue, gold, and white?
Yeah, so it's navy blue and gold mostly.
Yeah, it throws me.
But it's like a darker gold.
Yeah.
So and then the Storm is in white on their logo, if I remember correctly.
I feel like you could a different color scheme would really bring that out more.
Okay, so maybe this is what our new job should be, just rebranding logos for high schools.
Oh, I have some ideas.
402-464-5685, the Honda Lincoln Hotline, the Starter Heyman text line. Packed weekend. As everybody knows, we're going to talk to Zack Carpenter of Inside Nebraska here in about 10 minutes or so, get his thoughts. Where do we, okay, not we, fans.
Kind of we.
Fans, I guess, might have an idea of where Nebraska's at with Dylan Raiola. Where does somebody that is not necessarily a fan, just a media member who covers recruiting for a living, where does he see Dylan Raiola potentially going? It's still so early. Time frame on commitment. We'll ask Zach all those questions coming up in about 10 minutes or so, and he'll be able to answer them as well. And also, like, outside of just outside of Dylan Raiola, you have the number one tight end in the state of Nebraska here, or number one player in the state of Nebraska here in Carter Nelson.
He's top 100, right?
Pretty close. I want to say top 150.
Okay, that'll work.
So you have top 150 player Carter Nelson in town, fresh off of a visit at Colorado, where he was with Coach Prime
and his cowboy hat.
Yeah, and Coach Prime wasn't wearing a cowboy hat.
Coach Prime Denton.
Is that what it is?
I think that's what he called himself.
Well, so now, which also I want to get to the article where Dion he did something similar to Matt Rule, where he doesn't take away the single digits from everybody except his son.
Nobody has numbers.
No, nobody has numbers.
That's what it is.
Okay, except his son has number 2.
Yes. Well, so they have pictured none of the players in practice have numbers, which is weird, but whatever. But on his son's face mask, the little plastic part at the top of the face mask says SS2.
So it's 2. So he's wearing.
So he's going to wear number 2. And in the article, they said that
He's not going to have
his
to worry
son is
about it.
going to wear number 2.
So I don't know. It's confusing. I guess it's the same situation or same, principle of the idea for that Matt Rule is using.
Yeah. I get it. I don't mind what Matt Rule's doing. I don't mind what Coach Prime is doing. I think you do your own thing. You're the head coach. It's really your way. It doesn't really matter. I don't think it affects anything. I understand some of the people who maybe had numbers, who are, seniors on those teams who had numbers before, like on Nebraska's, people who had single-digit numbers before. Now they have to change it. Hopefully they get it back. But, I mean, you have to prove you're one of the toughest people on the team, whatever it is, what have you there. And then in Coach Prime's situation where you had a number, now nobody has numbers. I don't know if it's just like that in practice where you just have to learn each other, learn each other's faces. You can't just go off of numbers, or if they're truly going to, once everything's settled, you get your first pick at a number, you get this pick, you get that pick, if that's how it's going to go.
Okay, so a couple things before we get to break here in a couple minutes. Let's talk Husker baseball really quickly and just kind of encompass it in the entire conversation, because you have Husker baseball who is going to draw a lot of fans, understanding that, hey, Dylan Raiola is probably going to be there.
Mm-hmm.
And think about how wild that is. And this is kind of something I want to talk to Zach about. Is I have literally talked to people that are going for the opportunity to try to see Dylan Raiola.
That's weird.
Is it?
Yes.
Is it doing too much?
You're going to a baseball game, not for baseball, but for a chance to see. They're going to go for baseball,
but it's
but for a chance to see a recruit who might not even come to this university. But I don't know. It's weird to me because you're just like, I just want to sit. Like,
and I don't know.
Are you going to meet him? Is he going to sign autographs? I don't think so. Like, I don't think that's definitely not going to happen. Right. So it's just to see him and like take a picture of him. And it's like, it's Dylan Raiola. Like, cool.
I would not be surprised if there is a line if Dylan and the other recruits, because there are a lot of recruits go here this weekend, and a lot of high level or high rated ones.
Yeah.
Now, are we going to be surprised if we sit there and we see pictures and there's a line of guys getting ready?
Allowed to sign autographs? Are they?
I'm sure you can take pictures.
Well, yeah, but it's like,
now here's the deal. It's no different. It's no different, Rico. Think about this than when you're at Memorial Stadium and you ask a recruit for a picture across the other side of the fence.
Yeah, I know. I don't know. It's weird.
I don't know. It's weird. Here's the deal. Like, and this is what somebody said, unnamed texter. It's giving off of stage 5 clingy vibes. And I get that. Like but you want to talk about, think about what we're saying right now. And the fact that this is even an authentic conversation. Like, this is an applicable conversation. This is not a stupid one where we're talking about, hey, we're sitting here going, look at what Nebraska fans did for this guy at the basketball game.
Okay. So we've got this going on. People are chanting his name at a basketball game. People are going to go to a baseball game. They want to see him, take pictures with him, get his autographs and everything. But, this is showing, but this is showing how ravenous Husker fans are and how much they are bought into a program despite all of the setbacks that Nebraska's had for years. But when players are on social media and asking for followers and such, people get upset at that. This is kind of the same thing, just not on a social media stage. They're not asking for it, but this is the fans, giving them all of the attention that they want. And I guess you could say this is Nebraska fans' way of showing, like, this is how, loved you'll be if you come here. But it's, kind of like that texter said, it's stage 5 clinger vibes. It's weird. It's a little creepy. I understand, some of the fans are like, or some of the recruits in years past have said, I'm just walking down the street and somebody I don't know is just like, hey, you're so-and-so. Like, the fact that they recognize me just off of, recruiting pictures or whatever, they're like, yeah, that's pretty cool. But also I want to ask recruits, like, does it ever weird you out that people just know who you are, or people want to get pictures and autographs from you when you're just, on a visit, when you're not, there's really no, you're not committed. You're not, you haven't said you're going to go to Nebraska. You're not a part of the Husker, lore, Husker family quite yet.
So, I mean, you can talk, though, about how this is kind of all NIL wrapped into it, though. This is giving fans an opportunity, maybe not through monetary value, to say, hey, we are here for, like, this is for you. Because here's the deal. You have to remember, though, also, at how highly touted Dylan Raiola is currently. I mean, this, as somebody said, Big Bird said, when was the last time this high of a profile recruit has considered playing ball in Lincoln? He is the highest rated player in all of recruiting all time. I'm not sure on that last part, but that first part rings true.
In terms of if he commits to Nebraska,
yes. But that first part, especially, when was the last time this high of profile recruit has considered playing ball in Lincoln? Nebraska's going to roll out the red carpet for everybody. It's going to be taken up a couple of notches for a guy that's the number one player in the country, and it's going to be taken up a couple more notches given the fact that he's a legacy guy. And that makes Husker fans love legacy. They love tradition. Think about everything within the program, sellout streak, and you talk about the stadium being as traditional as it is. Here we are, and yes, not to overshadow, you're absolutely right, Bill and Bennett, not to overshadow the three guys' jerseys that are getting retired. We're going to talk about that in the crossover.
I think we should be doing that.
We're going to be talking about that in the crossover. But the fact that Omar Hales tweeted out, hey, we need everybody at this baseball game tomorrow, they're going to be there. And I'm not going to be surprised in the least bit to see a picture on Twitter of a line waiting to take pictures. If they're in a location.
I wouldn't be surprised. It's still weird.
It might be weird, but this is how it is. And here's the deal, is recruits would then be able to walk away from it. They're either going to say, oh, it's kind of weird, or they're going to say, wow, they treated me like one of their own.
Yeah.
And so it can be used for, positive, I suppose.
There's two sides to this coin.
Now, I will say, Waterboy says this, guys, put context behind this. A bunch of grown adults going to a Nebraska baseball game to get the opportunity to say hello to an 18-year-old kid from Arizona because he might come here. And Waterboy, I would say this also, I don't think it's necessarily grown adults. Like, we're talking kids here, because I think you'd be surprised.
Are we?
No, well, so here's what I'll say. And the reason I say that, during the state basketball tournament, Malachi Coleman was at a Class D1 basketball game. It was teams from far away in Nebraska, not close to Lincoln, not close to Omaha. And you had kids coming from the student section to go over and ask Malachi to take a picture. We're talking like 7th, 8th graders. Because in those small towns, it's usually a K through 12 kind of school, or it's it's 6 through 12 or whatever it may be. So you have younger kids, not just high schoolers. Like, kids pay attention to this. And now with social media and with Barstool and with all these fan accounts, kids pay attention to recruiting more than I think we might believe or know.
I feel like in this instance, it's more adults than it is kids. I understand the Malachi situation, but he's also, the local kid,
and
he was signed with all of the fanfare behind him. Everybody in the state of Nebraska, and not saying that everybody in the state of Nebraska doesn't know, Dylan Raiola, because obviously he's the number one, recruit in the country. But Malachi Coleman was, it's the native son. It's the guy who's here, and he has this great story and all this stuff. Like, so that was, spread far and wide in the state of Nebraska. Whereas Dylan Raiola is the football circles of people in the state of Nebraska. So it might be more adults than it is, but I get it. I get it. There are still kids who might want to get a picture with.
Well, and as sad as it was, Rico, I was one of them. Micah Parsons came to Lincoln. I took a picture with Micah Parsons.
There you go.
And I was a freshman in high school.
Now you have that forever.
Oh, I still got it. And every time Micah Parsons makes a play, I post it.
Just like this,
because it's young Nick with young Micah Parsons. And he's wearing a Nebraska pullover.
What could have?
So I'm like, man, this is interesting.
What could have?
But no, seriously, like that's the case. I want to put a pin there, because I think that's an interesting conversation to have with Zack Carpenter of Inside Nebraska. And we'll do that coming up next here on the Happy Hour.
Follow Nick and Enrique on Twitter at Nick_Sainert and at Radio Rule AC. More of Happy Hour is next on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
March is a month of good luck, from epic runs in state basketball to watching Cinderella spring the upset in college basketball. And of course, St. Patrick's Day. Luck is on your side at Mullen Motors, too, because their lot is full of great vehicles to take home. Come check out their lot just north of 48th and Layton and find your next ride, as summer road trips are just around the corner. Your luck starts this month at Mullen Motors.
No tag-on, just quality vehicles. Mullen Motors.
At 10th and P or at 1501 Center Park Road.
This is Jay Foreman. I wore gear to protect my health on the football field, and I'm protecting it now by staying up to date with the bivalent COVID vaccine. Get up to date while it's still free and stay protected. Learn more at healthylincoln.org.
If you want to make new floor shopping easier, come to O Street Carpet. Hi, I'm Steve Carper. Our flooring professionals can help you choose the best flooring for you, your family, and your budget. We eliminate the confusion. Even better, you'll be enjoying your new flooring sooner. 6 or 8 week waits will install right away and save money on installation. Shop made easy every day at O Street Carpet.
O Street Carpet.
1732 O Street, family owned and operated, always the best value.
Hi, Sean Callahan here with Koppel Chevrolet GMC, and it is Truck Month at Koppel, and we are pulling out all of the stops for this gigantic event. The lots are starting to fill, and we have some great deals for you waiting in Louisville. Brand new GMC Sierra Light Duty and new Silverado Light Duty trucks. All trim levels have up to $4,000 in discounts. That's right, up to $4,000 off all new light duty trucks right now at Koppel. So do not wait. Now is the time to buy a new truck. So stop on in or visit us online at koppelcars.com. You must have a trade-in and finance with Koppel. All deals with Roof Credit.
MWR is dedicated to building attractive, affordable steel buildings that exceed your expectations. From commercial to residential to agricultural storage, steel buildings are cost-effective, attractive, and versatile. Plus, they're a lasting investment and an ideal choice. MWR's building systems out of Albion and can service you all over the state and region. If you have interest in a steel building, post frame building, or fencing, give MWR a call today at 402-980-5273 or go to mwrbuildingandfence.com.
At first, I was really nervous and intimidated to buy a ring. I wasn't sure what I was getting into.
My experience at Starter Heyman was very easy. I felt like I walked out of Starter Heyman with the ring that was going to make her go wow and say yes.
I love my ring. It is so beautiful.
I absolutely love my ring. I get compliments on it all the time. I always tell them Starter Heyman.
Yeah, we definitely recommend Starter Heyman.
It's great.
Coming back.
Starter Heyman Jewelers, Lincoln and Grand Island. StarterHeyman.com.
Guys, when I first started with Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping, I weighed in at over 300 pounds. Now, less than a year later, I'm under 200 pounds for the first time since high school. I'm stronger, I'm healthier, and it all began with the Farrell's 10-week challenge. 10 weeks of kickboxing, strength training, and guided nutrition coaching to help you reach your fitness goals. Their next 10-week challenge begins on April 8th. If you're wanting to change your life like I have, head to theticketfm.com and click on Enroll Now page. Plus, get a promo code for a discount just for ticket listeners. Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping.
Hi, Sean Callahan here of HuskerOnline.com, inviting you to join us here on 937 The Ticket. Every Saturday morning now in our new time, we're on from 8 to 9 with the weekly Husker Online radio show. We'll give you the latest in recruiting. We'll talk about what's going on with both football, basketball, and we'll probably share a few stories from the inside. It's every Saturday morning right here on 93.7 The Ticket. It's the Husker Online radio show from 8 to 9 a.m.
You're listening to the Happy Hour with Nick Sainert and Enrique Alvarez Clary.
This isn't the real Caesar's Palace, is it?
What do you mean?
Did Caesar live here?
No.
I think so.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Happy 93.7 The Ticket, theticketfm.com. Let's go ahead and head right to the phone lines where we're joined by our good friend and Friday guest. We took a couple weeks off, but now we're back because Nebraska, if you haven't heard, is hosting quite a few recruits this weekend.
I didn't know.
We head to the Honda of Lincoln Hotline where we're joined by Zack Carpenter of Inside Nebraska. Zach, what's up, man?
What's going on, fellas? I missed you guys. I thought maybe was it something I did, or was it you guys, not me? Like, I hadn't been on a show for a minute. So
Look, Zach,
it was by design.
Look, I'm sorry, Zach. We have something to tell you.
And it's just
not you, it's me.
Yeah, it's just best to do it on air where everybody can hear, so that way there's no message boards or anything about it.
Yeah, we want everybody to know.
Right, air all the dirty laundry out. That's the MO, right?
Just leave him out to dry. Don't even talk to him.
Zach, man, how weird is it going to be if grown adults are lining up to take pictures with Dylan Raiola tonight at the Husker baseball game?
Not weird. I mean, that happens. I mean, I think the kids and stuff were getting autographs when he was at the basketball game, but like I'm so numb to that, or at least used to it. Covering recruiting for years, I would after the games, I'd interview whoever I was there to watch and evaluate, and then there'd be people lining up to take pictures or get autographs from him. I'm like, man, he's 16. Like, I get it though. Like 5-star quarterback with Dylan Raiola. But honestly, I was thinking of the story with 5-star quarterback Jaden Davis after he had this huge game when I went down there a couple years ago, and I mean, they're superstars in the making. That was probably my most favorite part about covering recruiting is you're seeing the stars before they're the stars. So I mean, fans are a lot the same way, man. Kind of, you'll be able to say, I knew you win.
Yeah,
essentially. So nothing weird to me about if they're getting some pictures taken, but baseball, Nebraska baseball game is an interesting backdrop for a massive recruiting weekend.
I agree. Hey, but it's gonna be a good day for some Husker athletics with baseball retiring a couple jerseys, and then the big junior day. Before we
who signs more autographs, Alex Gordon or Dylan Raiola?
Alex Gordon. He's a baseball player.
Yeah,
they've got the signature. I mean, already locked into place. That's one thing I've always been jealous about. I mean, also paychecks and incredible athletic ability of baseball players is they have that beautiful signature.
That's just the one thing.
Zach, before we dive deeper into the recruiting weekend, I want to talk and get your thoughts from Husker football practice this week, because we got to see the first 40 minutes of Thursday's practice. I mean, did anybody stand out to you, or what were you kind of watching on Thursday?
Yeah, so the way we broke it up, I focused on the offense, and Steve Marek, he focused on the defense. And then Jansen, Jeff, and Greg were all there handling multimedia with photos and videos and just observations here and there. But so I was focused on the offense. I mean, taking a look at the quarterbacks really quickly, just one thing I noticed, obviously we didn't get to watch them throw, and that was by design. But having them go through running back drills, ball carrying drills, which I'm wasn't here for spring ball last year, but I mean, I think that's probably going to be pretty standard, but it still stood out to me because I think this staff is going to want to implement the quarterback run game a little more. And Jeff Sims, he was running through the GAs who were smacking the quarterbacks and the running backs with pads as they ran through the line, and working on ball security and running through contact. And Sims got praised for how he was doing in that drill. But then that was my first time seeing Jeff Sims in person, and I also I was taking a bunch of photos as well, and got one where it's just like, all right, this perfectly sums up how physically impressive that guy is. Like, might have just been the angle, but his arms look massive, and he's at 6'4", 220, I think he's up to. Might even be more than that. I don't have the official roster in front of me, but actually I do have it. 6'4", 220. Yes, your eyes are obviously going to be drawn to him because when we did our top 30 countdown leading up to spring ball, I had him and Casey Thompson. Just that quarterback battle is the number one most intriguing Husker, most intriguing storyline. But he looks the part, man. I mean, he looks the part of an NFL body, a high-level college football body. Can he put it all together? Can he stay healthy? Can he put it all together as far as reading defenses? Obviously, we're not going to know that until the fall if he does wind up winning starting quarterback job, but man, he looked physically impressive.
Keeping it on the offensive side and keeping it with transfers, one of the kind of forgotten transfers, or one that I've been hearing a lot more about lately, Billy Kemp, the transfer out of Virginia. Did you get a chance to see him, and what were your thoughts on him?
Well, of course I got a chance to see him. He's a fellow short king. So, of course, I had my eyes on him. He's 5'9", I'm 5'7", with shoes on. So, yeah, he actually I mean, it's not a surprise, but when I walked outside, he was number one in the punt returning drills, like in the number one in the line, and then Xavier Betts is behind him. And Kemp looked completely comfortable returning punts. I think Betts was just, again, limited time seeing him. Looked like Kemp was a lot more comfortable, but that's not surprising because Kemp was Virginia's top punt returner for the last 4 years and racked up like over 2,500 all-purpose yards. It was over 2,700. So, yeah, Kemp, I mean, he looks like he's low to the ground. He has balance. That they're running through that, whatever that gauntlet is, the machine that the running backs were going through, and then the receivers, they flipped them out, and they're going through pass-catching drills with Garrett McGuire. Overhearing him say, yeah, 3 things to do: you catch, tuck, knife. And then all the receivers are going through and doing that. And Kemp got tripped up a little bit at the end there, and went to the ground, but he stayed up. Like he regained his balance and kept plugging forward. So you see that, like the short area quickness. Maybe Kemp isn't a over the top burner with his speed, but he's going to be utilized so often, I think, effectively in the short to intermediate passing game, and quick passes, maybe, who knows, maybe jet sweeps or touch passes behind the line of scrimmage, who knows, but definitely going to be utilized in those areas to move the chains. And he's an exciting player. It's like we don't know for sure who that number one wide receiver is going to be. And there's guys, Marcus Washington, obviously Xavier Betts, who, again, he's 6'2", 200, another super physically impressive offensive player. But Kemp isn't, you wouldn't expect your number one receiver to be a slot guy at 5'9". What's his official weight? 5'9", 180. But I mean, Tyreek Hill did it with the Chiefs. He did it with the Dolphins. So, I mean, there's that opportunity. Obviously, different players, and we're talking about the difference in that electric elite speed that Tyreek Hill has. So I'm not comparing the two, but yeah, I'm really excited to see what Kemp can do and what he can be. I kind of feel like I wrote this a couple weeks ago that maybe he doesn't wind up being a true number one wide receiver, but I think he's the top candidate to be whoever the quarterback is. He's the top candidate to be that quarterback's favorite target, most reliable target throughout games.
One more before we get to the recruiting weekend. We're talking to Zack Carpenter of Inside Nebraska. Arik Gilbert was out there, and I mean, I was telling the guys here, like, the Georgia guys, whether it's Jacob Hood, who, yes, wasn't in the first group, but was bigger than everybody else, and obviously Teddy Proska was not practicing or was in a green jersey, but you had you look at Jacob Hood, you look at MJ Sherman, and then most of all, you look at Arik Gilbert, and they just look different.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to Georgia, the premier program in college football right now, and they have their choice of 5 stars and high-end 4 stars. So those guys look the part, no doubt about it. And no, they didn't get any playing time for. They didn't get MJ Sherman didn't get snaps on defense. He was more of a special teams role, and each guy didn't get playing time for different reasons. Or each guy's different is what I'm trying to say, each guy's situation. But you're going up against other 5 stars. You're going up against pros in practice. That was Ohio State's recruiting pitch all the time. I'm sure Georgia's is similar. Is your iron sharpens iron, as the cliche goes, but pros practicing against pros. So you're going up against some of the best talent in college football throughout practices all year, even if you're not necessarily getting into games. So that gives you a little bit of experience and leg up, and combining that with Yeah, like you said, I mean, Reed Gilbert is 6'6", 270 now, and MJ Sherman, I mean, you walk by him, and it's just like, yep, he's not going to be mistaken for an FCS prospect anytime soon. So, yeah, I feel like I'm sounding like a broken record, but there are just a lot of really physically impressive athlete bodies and athletes frames on this team. So, I mean, it's a good little core to work with for Corey Campbell and the rest of that training staff and the rest of the coaching staff.
Zach, moving on to the junior day here. I mean, obviously headlined by Dylan Raiola. I want to kind of talk to you about Dylan, but in a different sense here. When you look at his entire recruitment, it's just kind of been crazy because Nebraska was completely out of it. And then when we talked to you right after Matt Rule had like first talked to Dylan Raiola, it was like, and he decommitted from Ohio State. It was like, all right, probably about a 10 to 15% chance. We don't necessarily need you to put a number on it unless you want to, but I mean, like, just talk about how much Husker Nation is attracted to Dylan Raiola right now and how polarizing him coming to Lincoln is right now, and then where Nebraska's chances lie.
Yeah, it's just so crazy because the 5-star talent, I mean, he's the number one quarterback. He's also the number one overall player. And it's just continued. I always do this type of thing with, like, when Nebraska was 3-3 last year and tied for first in the Big Ten West, I kept saying Nebraska's tied for first place in the Big Ten West. Mm-hmm. I'm just going to keep saying that because it's like, that needs to hit home. Like, and it's just, it's a reality that we're in. And in this case, Nebraska has a chance with the number one overall player in the country. So they've had that chance for the past few months, ever since his decommitment from Ohio State. And then when Rule put in that effort and that time to build that relationship and on down the line with all the other coaches visiting his school down in Arizona. But yeah, it's the Husker legacy connection too. Obviously, it plays such a big role in it. So it's just a hell of a coincidence, I guess, to use one word, that the best player in this recruiting class and potential future top 10 pick and all those things that are legitimately squarely on the table. And the fact that you combine it with the fact that he's not just a Husker legacy, but he's the son of an All-American national champion, Nebraska Hall of Famer, has his jersey retired in the stadium, just adds so much to it. And I've only been living here since August, but I mean, those sorts of values and that the family connections and the emotional connections are just, it's very clear to me that that's such a big part of the Nebraska culture, called the Nebraska way, where those connections are so tight and so important. So I think that also draws some tugs at the heartstrings, I guess, to use another cliche, at a lot of the fan base, and for good reason. And sort of a Nebraska thing and a Midwest thing. I mean, I grew up in the Midwest, so I get it from that angle. But then you add all the talent to it and what he could mean for this class, not just as the superstar at the game's most important position, but for all the Rolodex he has and the guys he could bring with him if he did wind up choosing Nebraska. But I still think USC and Georgia are such major players here. There's some other schools still in the mix, still involved, but USC and Georgia are still right there at the top. And it's gonna be hard. I've been saying it. I know I've said it like 100 times on your guys' show and other platforms, other places, but when he decommitted from Ohio State, I kept saying, look out for USC as a quote unquote dark horse. Can't really be a dark horse when you're USC and Lincoln Riley, but I always felt just like a gut feeling that was going to become more of a serious consideration than maybe we were giving it credit for at the time. It seemed like Georgia was a shoo-in. And Georgia still heavily involved. Nebraska's still heavily involved, but yeah, I mean, this is still a fight. I've been trying to temper expectations that it's not anywhere even close to being a done deal with Nebraska, despite all these visits. And I'm continuing to try to temper expectations of be excited, but don't go through the moon believing that it's a done deal or it's no doubt going to happen.
All right, Zach, last one before we go ahead and let you go. Zack Carpenter of Inside Nebraska with us. When you talk about, or when you look at this junior day, there's a lot of high profile guys. And that's kind of why it's such a big deal, I suppose. And part of that is the attraction of Dylan Raiola, a lot of other high quality talent want to come with him. Is there a chance, is there a chance for potential commitments here down there like soon? Or is this weekend kind of for the staff to also be like, all right, let's see who is a realistic possibility out of these top end guys?
Yeah, I think it's both. I mean, I think Ian Flint, tight end from Texas, his dad went to, I think, ran track here in the 90s. His sister's on the track team at Nebraska. We've had him on commitment watch since December, essentially, or January. I think Greg has Ian on commitment watch. He has a future cast in for Ian to eventually pick Nebraska, and I'm not sure if it's going to happen after this visit, but wouldn't be surprised. But also Gibson Pyle, offensive lineman. He's a 3-star down in, again, Texas. Again, notice that theme, but Greg and Nick Harris are Rivals national recruiting analysts who covers Texas for us. They both have a future cast in for Nebraska for Gibson. And those are two guys sort of jump off the page. But the other part of your question is, yeah, I think it's a relationship building weekend, and something that Rule talked about a couple weeks ago at press conference is I don't want guys to commit to me without seeing me coach and practice, without seeing us practice. So that's another major reason why they, I think, I didn't ask Rule this directly, but I think that's probably a big reason why they decided to have this big junior day this weekend, so they can see that big practice on Saturday. But yeah, I mean, just to run through a couple of guys. I mean, Brandon Baker, he's an offensive tackle from Mater Dei, and he's considered to be in conversations to be the number 1 ranked offensive tackle in what's considered to be a pretty thin offensive tackle class. So getting him on campus is massive. And then you got the in-state stars, Carter Nelson, Davon Hall, Isaiah McMorris, Gatlin Bear from Idaho. But the thing I keep coming back to, I don't know if I've talked with you guys about it, but the three of the biggest areas I've been hoping that the new staff was going to wind up recruiting would be, in no order, but Philadelphia, the DMV, or not Philadelphia, the DMV, Chicago, and St. Louis. And the DMV, they've made that clear that that's one of the priorities outside Nebraska and Texas and a couple other states. Chicago, they've targeted that, and then St. Louis, they followed up by targeting that place as well. It's just there's so much talent loaded in to so many top tier schools in St. Louis in such a small radius that there's too much talent, and it's too intriguing of a place where you can really maximize your time on the recruiting trail when it's such a condensed recruiting calendar as it is, and it's so close by. And I think they're taking that next step of trying to get their foot in the door in St. Louis with guys like Ryan Wingo, 5-star receiver from St. Louis, and another guy from St. Louis. Where was he? I think Ryan Wingo, and another one, name's escaping me. But they are trying to recruit St. Louis, and that's something that's a storyline to follow this weekend with some guys coming in.
All right, Zach. Hey, good, really, really good stuff. Really thorough stuff. We appreciate the time as always. What do you think of Trev Alberts and the beatbox?
Man, the fact that the athletic director is tweeting that out and putting a spotlight on recruiting. I mean, if nothing else, that doesn't happen very often where a program's athletic director, especially one of the profile of Nebraska, the fact that he's putting a spotlight on this recruiting weekend, if nothing else, that should tell you how big of a deal this recruiting weekend is. I mean, might be the biggest recruiting weekend, in recent Nebraska history. I don't know how far back that would go, but just the depth of talent and the number of guys getting on campus. So Trev Alberts is pulling out the stop. They pulled out the big guns for this weekend.
Gosh, it's crazy. It's definitely an exciting time. Zach, stay busy. I know you'll have no problem doing that with all the bodies in town. So we appreciate you taking about 20 minutes of your time and hanging out with us, man.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys. I'll catch you guys again next time.
Stay up, Short King.
Short King spring is here, boys.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
See you, Zach. We'll talk to you later.
All right, see you.
That is Zack Carpenter of Inside Nebraska. Appreciate his time as always. Really thorough stuff. It's crazy when it's always funny because Zach always texts me about 5 minutes after we get done with the conversation. Is like, man, I hope I didn't talk too much. And I'm like, Zach, dude, if I ask 5 questions in 20 minutes, we're getting enough information. You're all good, man.
Honestly, Zach, in these situations on these days, like this section, it's you. It's all you.
We do not.
They don't want us.
People don't want to hear us.
They don't want us. Yeah. They want the guy that knows more recruiting than us.
Ryan Mackey on the text line says Gibson Pyle is a phenomenal offensive lineman, and it is really good. It is really good. So yeah, no, seriously, keep in touch with. We'll have news obviously coming from the weekend as well as the rival site, the Inside Nebraska folks over there. Shout out to Steve. If you listen to our show on Mondays, Steve Mark works over there with Zach, and Zach obviously doing their thing over there on the recruiting side of things. So make sure you go check them out. Let's go ahead and we'll take our final timeout. When we come back, we bring in Strick and Austin, and we talk a little Husker baseball as they get ready for a big series this weekend after dropping a couple in a row. And then they'll also retire some jerseys, talk about recruiting a little bit. And the guys have a pretty phenomenal guest coming up on the Block. We'll tell you about it coming up next.
Download our app by searching 93.7 The Ticket in your app store to stay in touch and listen all day long wherever you are. More of the happy hour is next on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Mike Shaver here to tell you that Trek CBD has a new name, and it's Hemp Boss. It's the same product you've grown to love, just a new name. Spring sports are on the horizon, and Hemp Boss has a variety of products that help calm me down during games and on the golf course so I don't go over the top. And they have a variety of options for you to calm you down before, during, and after any event. Whether you're looking for drinkable Delta 8 seltzers, hemp-derived Delta 9 syrups for your beverages, or anything else, Hemp Boss has it all at 84th and Andermatt. Hemp Boss, naturally healthy CBD.
Hey there.
Hi, honey.
Uh-oh.
Remember we told Jamie and Mike about Liberty First Credit, how great their checking account and car loans are, the amazing service we get, and how we love being members?
Yeah.
Well, they took our advice. Jamie said how easy it was to move all their accounts and become members. Now they say they're banking with purpose at Liberty First Credit Union.
Learn more about being a member at libertyfirstcu.com. Liberty First Credit Union. Banking with purpose. Member NCUA.
Colon cancer is the second leading cause of cancer-related deaths in the United States, but regular screening can reduce colon cancer deaths by 50%. At-home screening tests such as the fecal immunochemical test, FIT, can help identify precancerous polyps, prevent colon cancer. FIT is easy to use with no prep needed, can be completed in the privacy of your own home, and are often free to order from your local county health department. Take a health quiz to know you're at risk of developing colon cancer. Now is the time to act and ensure that you take the quiz.
Constructors is now hiring for all positions, with laborers starting at $20 and up based on experience. Constructors has immediate job openings for laborers, mechanics, bridge builders, operators, and drivers. Start your new career today. Constructors offers great pay, health, dental, and vision insurance, paid time off, paid holidays, and so much more. Join the crew today and be a part of Nebraska's oldest paving company dating back 1908. For a complete list of openings and to apply online, visit constructorslincoln.com.
Are you planting this spring? Make safety your priority. LES requires any landscaping or trees to be planted a safe distance from electrical lines and equipment to give crews safe access. Visit les.com/trees to learn more.
Action Plumbing, Heating, Air, and Electric brings exciting career opportunities for you or someone you know.
They are now hiring plumbers, electricians, and HVAC techs and installers to continually build their professional team. They offer competitive pay and full benefits that include health, dental, vision, PTO, and 401k options. Action has created a positive team environment for over 50 years. Apply online at actionlincoln.com.
You were almost home when suddenly you find yourself battling off the germs that cause sore throats. Luckily, you've been training for this moment by staying up to date on vaccinations, washing your hands, disinfecting surfaces at home, and avoiding touching your face. And thanks to the great CatchGoodHealth.org, you're on your way to being the very best at staying well. Don't let the Pikachu damage your health this cold and flu season. Instead, start your training today at CatchGoodHealth.org.
Hey guys, Nick Sainert here, and I want to tell you about my friends at Spine and Sports Chiropractic. I experienced a herniated disc in my lower back a few years ago, and thanks to the folks at Spine and Sports, I got back to feeling 100%. At Spine and Sports, they use the active release technique, which involves the soft tissue and can alleviate headaches, shoulder pain, plantar fasciitis, and more. What I like most about the ART method is that your doctor plan that fits your needs because the technique is not a cookie cutter approach. Allow Spine and Sports Chiropractic to help you feel better. Set up your appointment today by giving them a call at 402-261-6841.
Guys, when I first started with Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping, I weighed in at over 300 pounds. Now, less than a year later, I'm under 200 pounds for the first time since high school. I'm stronger, I'm healthier, and it all began with the Farrell's 10-week challenge. 10 weeks of kickboxing, strength training, and guided nutrition coaching to help you reach your fitness goals. Their next 10-week challenge begins on April 8th. If you're wanting to change your life like I have, head to theticketfm.com and click on Enroll Now on the homepage. Plus, get a promo code for a discount just for ticket listeners. Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping.
Experience the Landmark difference with the next level of dealer support. Landmark, your local John Deere dealer, continually works to have parts on hand the first time you walk in the door. Our internal route system means we can get the parts to you typically same or next day to keep you up and running. At Landmark, we understand time is money. Get more uptime with our after-hours parts and service support on the phone or in the field. Our sales, precision ag, parts, and service teams are ready to serve you this planting season. Stop by your local Landmark today to experience the Landmark difference.
93.7 The Ticket. Fox KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
A mix of sun and clouds expected for our Friday. We'll top out near 54. Winds out of the south at around 10. Overnight increasing cloud cover, a low of around 34. We'll have a chance of scattered showers tomorrow afternoon as we'll reach up to a high of around 56. I'm meteorologist Tim Wright for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet. KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. You're listening to the Happy Hour with Nick Sainert.
Even before you start. That was a preemptive
And Enrique Alvarez Clary.
I already had someone created in my image. He's evil, he wants to take over the world, and he fits easily into most overhead storage bins.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back into the Happy Hour 93.7 theticketfm.com. We are joined once again now by Strick and Austin. What's up, gentlemen?
Yay.
Good basketball last night. Real good basketball.
The basketball was good.
Marquise Knowles.
Marquise
Knowles.
Knowles.
Marquise Knowles. Yeah.
No S, but no.
No.
Yeah.
Sorry, my Marquise Knoll.
Mhm.
Had a fantastic game, 20 points, 19 assists.
He put
which is
the S
unbelievable.
on the end of his name last night.
Yes.
He is Knowles now.
Oh, hey.
Yeah. No, so I
Okay.
mean,
He can be
here's
whoever he wants to be. the way
Because
he
he's
plays.
Superman.
here's a trivia question for you guys. What college was Marquise Knoll at
That was
for the
that
first
was
3
what
years?
I was wanting to know. It was a smaller
Small school. Any guesses?
Are they eligible for the NCAA tournament? Like, could they have been?
I don't think so.
Like, are they in a conference in which if they win it, they go to the NCAA tournament?
I understand what you mean by low.
Sorry, I'm like explaining it to like
I
everybody
couldn't
else.
tell you but I knew it was a small school.
St. Francis, New York.
No, it is not. Let's see.
It's gotta be
They
somewhere
would
out
be.
east, though.
They would be.
They would be.
Ooh.
And it is not East.
No,
not East. Can I get a conference or would that give it away?
I can get you the conference.
Okay. I don't think it's gonna help me.
the Ohio Valley Conference.
Oh,
They joined the Ohio Valley Conference in 2022 after 31 seasons in the Sun Belt. Their mascot is the Trojans.
Ohio Valley Trojans. Is it red?
It is a maroon.
Troy.
No.
I'm gonna feel like an idiot because I feel like I should know.
So
this.
it is Little Rock.
Yep.
wow.
Okay.
The Little Rock Trojans of the Ohio Valley. Not Arkansas Pine Bluff, not University of Arkansas at Little Rock. The Little Rock Trojans.
I guess I wouldn't have known that.
Yeah, I wouldn't know
I
that.
never heard
Little
of that.
man from Little Rock.
Yeah. And here
Short King.
And here he is with 20-19 in the NCAA tournament. It's fascinating.
But what
And
did-
a game-sealing
what-
steal.
Yeah.
What did I say though? This is going to be one of the wildest NCAA tournaments I think of all time. And this is before it even started. So don't be like, oh yeah, Striggy, you.
Of course you did.
No, before it even started, I sensed that this was.
You said it at the first. You said it during that week, and then you said it that first day at Wings and Rings.
Yeah.
We were sitting there before, like as the games were getting ready to start. You were saying how this is the year where nothing is going to make sense.
Yeah. Yes. And it has
shown
been
up.
everything that. I mean, let's just be honest. And I don't know how much we'll talk about it more on the next phase, but let's just be honest. It's like one of those, like the perfect storms of you had the COVID situation, you had the NIL and all of these changes and adjustments, and then all of a sudden you have AAU too that people aren't missing. So a lot of these kids like Marcus Noel, they're playing against these kids.
Yeah.
And they're like, they're just getting overlooked. They're like freaking John Morant on court 9 where most of the coaches aren't.
I'm gonna go get some Skittles.
But they can
and see
play
this
just
guy.
as good as anybody else. And so they're taking chips and they're like, listen. So the transfer portal's making it possible.
We had that conversation
these
yesterday.
young individuals to be able to finally get to a spot to where they can do their
It's
thing.
one of those things now where I'm going to play my year or two at this little college. I'm going to put up numbers and I'm going to enter the portal. And some big school is going to take a chance now because before they thought, oh, he can't play with these people. He
or
can't
his
play.
size.
Or
Tawny,
he's too small.
John from Colorado State. Tanji from
John
Omaha
Ta-
Central.
John Tanji he was the leading scorer his senior year in
I
the state of
understand that,
Nebraska. No,
but
I get-
overlooked.
Yeah,
kinda
no,
guy.
I get what you're saying, but I'm just
Overlooked
saying
kinda guy.
I'm upset because he was the leading scorer in the state of Nebraska his senior year. He was one of the best players that year, and no D1 offers until really close to the end when Colorado State finally jumped in.
Yeah.
Switching sports, we got about a minute left. We'll go ahead and get out of here so the guys can get on their show. Husker baseball with the game tonight. Should Dylan Raiola throw out the first pitch?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm in.
Can Dylan Raiola?
I tweeted it out. People are in my mentions tagging Trev and tagging Husker baseball.
But what if he spikes it?
I have. Well, then he's
He's a
not meant to
baseball
be a
player.
quarterback.
He won't.
He's not
He's a
meant.
baseball player.
He's not meant to be a
He's the
quarterback.
next Patrick Mahomes.
If Dylan Raiola spikes first pitch, does Matt Rule rescind his offer?
If he has a 50-cent type of first pitch,
do they just
He
rescind
got it out of the way early.
They tell him to go home.
hey,
He's
you're,
not welcome
dude,
to-
you're on the next flight, man. Sorry. Don't even worry about
I'm
going to the
sorry.
hotel.
I'm sorry.
We already checked you out of your hotel.
I'm sorry, Dom. You got to
Here,
go.
here are your bags. You guys got a big guest coming up. You want to spill it now?
Darren Erstad.
There it is.
Joining the show at 2:30.
Darren Erstad. He's getting his jersey retired tonight. You might want to stick around in about 20 minutes or so. The guys, Strick and Austin, will talk to the former Husker football, baseball, and coach as they at 2:30. So stick around. On the Block coming up next.
Adios.
Hi, it's Charlie Stone again, and